today's economy, everybody just hates the way it's heading. The markets are crashing, everybody's having to take out loans for college, and nobody knows what to do. For me alone, I had to take out a loan for this spring semester. I'm taking out another one for summer. I'm going to take out one every single year for college. And the jobs, there's just not enough of them. I just got laid off from my job, and I'm trying to find another one, but I just can't find any out there because there's not enough for anybody. And the minimum wage isn't high enough. Right now, if I got paid $7.25 an hour, I get my paycheck, I get 100 of it taken away for taxes, and the rest goes for financial aid, food, gas, all that stuff. So you might be asking yourself, what's this have to do with me? How can I change this? Well, on the first Tuesday of every November is election day. Now, all y'all are thinking, okay, well, every 4 years we elect a new president, but actually every year there's an election, whether it's a local election, congressional election, senatorial election, or presidential election. There's an election every year, and it has to do with all of y'all. Now, the most likely person to vote from the 2008 presidential election was a female who was white, between the age of 65 and 74, who had an advanced degree that's being anything over a bachelor's degree, so master's, PhD, and who earned an income of $100,000 and over. Now, this is the most interesting statistic to me because the economy has to do with people that make around $50,000 or less. Those are the ones getting affected by the bad economy, and they make up just a mere 65% of the voting population. When, if they go out and vote, they can have a voice, they can make a difference in today's economy. Whenever I was a kid, I asked my mom, who's the president's boss? She has a boss, everybody has a boss, but who's the president's boss? And without knowing it, she told me the best answer, and she said I was. And I didn't know what she was talking about then, but she was actually right. We're all the president's boss, because whenever we vote, we give him our approval, and when we give him our approval, if we don't like the way he's doing something, we can impeach him from office and elect a new president. In the Iraq elections, there were 7,200 candidates that came out to be elected into 83 electoral blocks. Now, during that election, 58% of the population voted. During our election, we had about 65% that voted, so they're a little bit less. But out of that election, there was desperate warnings on the televisions and news announcements that there would be suicide bombings, car bombs, and people just trying to terrorize people into not voting. Despite that, there was lines out the door of people waiting to vote, and people even tried to vote more than once just because they were that enthusiastic to vote. However, during their election, there was 75 separate killings and 75 separate attacks and 44 killings, and yet people were still coming out to vote despite these attacks. So you might be saying, well, on election day, I'm really busy, or I have to work, or I have school. That's fine, because the ways to vote, you can go out on election day if you do have no school, or if you can get that day off. But say you're on a missions trip, or you're on a business trip, or you're out of the country, or something like that, you can apply for absentee ballot. And you fill out the form, they send it to your mailing address wherever you're at. You just fill out this form, and then you mail it back in. And if there's a runoff election where somebody, where the two people going in together, they tie, or it's really too close to call, then they use your vote to decide. So absentee voting, I think, is the best way to go to have the biggest voice. And the third choice is early voting. You can do this almost a month before the actual election day. And this is the same as absentee voting, except it's for if you're at home and you're just going to be busy on that day. You can go out and early vote. And in November, that's what I did. I went out and early voted. And if you're not registered to vote, you can go out and register on early voting day too. And it has the same effect as absentee voting. If there's a runoff election, your vote is used to decide who's to win. So for our 15th, 19th, 23rd, is there a way to bring that down? We didn't put it all. All right. for our 15th, 19th, 23rd, 24th, and 26th Amendment, people lost their lives for that. The 15th Amendment was African American suffrage, the 19th was women's suffrage, 23rd was District of Columbia can vote, the 24th was poll tax, and 26th was our right to vote for 18 and over. And only a little less than 50% make up the youth, which is 18 and 24, that go out and vote. During the American Revolution and the Civil War, roughly 4,435 casualties resulted in the American Revolution. And CivilWarHome.com estimated an average 700,000 casualties in the Civil War. That results in about 705,000 casualties in both these wars for our right to vote. And these people never got to see that right. So this election day, I urge you to come out and vote for your political leaders because you made your decisions.